Hello and welcome. I'm Mike Loader, and today I'm joined by Polaron's director Eva Hussain and the CEO Aaron Hubka to discuss Polaron's history and bright future in helping organisations' translation needs to better support multicultural communities. And I'd like to welcome them both to the program. Hello.
Hi. Hello.
Hi.
Hi, thanks, Mike.
No worries. So I'm going to start with Eva. When did you start Polaron Language Services? It's a tough question, but let's go through it.
It is, but one that I can answer. So 21 years ago, nearly to the date. So November 2000 was the date when the company was established. And look, the reason it's varied, but mostly because I was working already at that stage as an interpreter and translator. And thought I can bring some value to the market. I could see how it wasn't working. And I had this big dream of, facilitating communication. So initially it started as my background's Polish, so initially it was Polish interpreting and translating, and right off the bat I was so busy with lots of interpreting and translating work. At that time, 20 years ago, Polish community was quite large. So there was still, those post-war migrants that I would assist with, and anything from courts to hospitals to, it's really diverse, the work, and also translation of all kinds of documents, from driver's licenses to websites and everything in between. And then after about 2 years, we started getting other languages. So, and prior to establishing Polaron, I've worked for the government and big corporations, so I kind of knew how to do things from behind the scenes, I guess. And soon after, we had first staff and things, expanded to the point now where we have around 50, I think 40 something staff members. So from a tiny little company, we're now something bigger than I am, and obviously I'm very proud of that.
Fantastic. And Aaron, I'll bring you in for this one. How has the organisation progressed, and what do you see as the future of Polaron Language Services as well?
Thanks for that question, Mike. Look, the business has done very, very well despite the COVID pandemic in 2020. We've managed to expand and increase our turnover, but also our market share in our product base in both business units, which is quite fortunate. And I'd say this is achieved through a number of activities. Some of the COVID-related translation works we did locally, as well as refocusing our marketing efforts for the citizenship business towards the Americas.
Fantastic. So I'll go back over to you, Eva. What is the range of language services that you guys provide to organisations?
Thanks, Mike. So firstly, we cover about 176 different languages.
Wow.
In Australia, we speak around 300, including Indigenous languages. So we cover a whole range of languages that our community speak, essentially. And in terms of the types of services we provide in those languages, that includes translations, interpreting. We also do a little bit of co-design, which means that we go to the community to ask them what they want and how they want information to be presented to them. So if you imagine two different communities, let's say a Chinese-speaking community and an Arabic-speaking community, if you want them to quit smoking, the messaging necessarily needs to be different, not just because of language, but cultural practices and things like images on the brochures, things like that. So you need to workshop that with the community because that's got the best chance of success. So the range of services that we provide is really focused on effective communication, engagement, and not just ticking off boxes. We often talked about that, but it's really important for me as a taxpayer and as a business owner and as someone that is an immigrant and a former refugee, that we firstly keep the work local. So most, or if not all of our translators, interpreters are based in Australia, but also to get it right for the communities that these resources are for. So we work very hard at making sure they're not just accurate, but they really resonate. Because at the end of the day, people make decisions about what they read. So whether it's a governmental brochure or a service provider explaining what services they deliver, at the end of the day, it'll end up, with somebody's grandma or someone's wife who needs to make an informed decision about what's happening. So we focus on making sure that that's correct, that's right. And we also provide some interpreting services. We're just about to launch a video interpreting app with real interpreters, by the way.
Awesome.
And Aaron and the team have been working very hard at making that happen. It's a technology app, so there's a lot of work that's going into it. But again, we're keeping the jobs in Australia. we are making sure that the right people are speaking to the right people in the right language.
Fantastic. Sounds exciting. Aaron, I'll go back over to you. And under your leadership, the business has tripled in terms of staff and revenue. What's the secret to your success, my friend?
Look, honestly, no secret. I'd have to say sheer hard work, determination, and really it's a team effort. I'd also say remaining fluid and adaptable, being willing to take risks, and also having contingencies in place for unforeseen setbacks. That's, I suppose, what my role is, to foster and guide the organisation towards its goals and objectives, and also mitigating risks through sort of strategic and operational planning. But I have to say the real credit goes to the hardworking staff of Polaron. As I said earlier, it is absolutely a team effort, and they really have risen to the challenges faced, by all in the last sort of year, 18 months, and through sheer determination and dedication, have really, ensured the success and the results that we've achieved in the last financial year, but also helped launch the business into an excellent position to further grow and expand and have an even bigger FY 2022. And just on a point that you made about the future of the business, Eva touched on the video interpreting platform, but we've also got some exciting changes coming up, and hopefully expanding on our market presence on the citizenship side of the business as well.
Fantastic. And I'll just say, as somebody who works adjacent to Polaron, I'm really inspired by the work you guys have been doing. So congratulations and all the best. Aaron, thanks for joining us. I'm sure you're very busy, so I'll let you go.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Take care.
Easy done. All right, Eva, give us a little summary of the history of Polaron, what we've discussed with Aaron today. And
Yeah, it's so interesting to reflect on all of that because, when you set up a company, sometimes you might even be misguided, I would say, or not really sure where it's going to get you. So it's not like I sat down and I thought, okay, 21 years time, this is where I'm going to be. It's just not what happens. But I think by having a really good team, people that are so committed to loyal, like Aaron, like Dominic, like Kinga, there's nearly 50 of us. I could never imagine it getting to that point because it was always going to be just a tiny little enterprise, and it's grown into something so much bigger than me and something that I am proud of, and I think having people on your side and people that actually are experts in different areas, because there comes a point where you just can't do it all yourself.
Yeah.
And I'm so good at so many things, but so bad at so many other things. So having Aaron and Dominic and other people on board that are specialists in particular fields. So in Aaron's case, it's HR and managing and strategy and vision.
And stress.
And I can just turn up to these programs and look good, right? That's but no, amazing. I love it, and I'm just immensely proud of everyone. Honestly,
So you should be.
Yeah.
Well done, and thank you for discussing seeing a little bit behind the scenes of the behind the scenes people who work behind the scenes. Guys, if you have any questions about engaging with your multicultural audiences through interpreting or any of the other things we've discussed, translation, Polaron's contact details are on the screen, and their amazing team, as mentioned, will be more than happy to answer any questions you might have. I'm Mike Loder. Thanks for joining me for today. See ya.